This is the Spiritual Tea Report, and I'm going over what's the real reason why Jellisa killed her child. This has been a hard spiritual tea report to investigate, but we're going to go into the spiritual depths and analysis of Jellisa and why it's very much possible she had the mind to be a killer, and that all the things that are adding up towards her um, are not just because she was stressed. There's some other factors that I want to go into about Jellisa and her killing her 3-year-old child. It may not be easy to deal with, so I will give a caution or a warning on this actual spiritual tea report because it could be difficult to go through, but it's much necessary for us to understand the psyche of a killer and why somebody would do something like this. And a lot of people don't have answers. So let's get into this and, examine Jalissa and hopefully get some type of closure to the death of, I believe the little girl's name is Araya. So I went onto her Instagram page to do a little bit more of my investigation and just looking at Jalissa at the earlier times while she was pregnant. She looks proud to be pregnant and she's often talking about it. And she was talking about how, this was a big decision to have the baby. And the crazy thing about social media is that you can put any type of face on social media. And when I say any type of face, you can make anybody believe whatever you want them to believe on social media. And it's very rare that we get to see those moments where people are really going through it. And a lot of people are just left with questions about Jalissa and why did she do this to her 3-year-old? Because in the beginning, you're just seeing her really full of optimism. She really has a lot of optimism on her page. So it almost feels very confusing to people who have came on her page because I looked at the comments and I see people saying some things about what she did, but when you're looking at face value of her page is very optimistic and very uplifting. And you see at the beginning of her pregnancy, she was very happy about her daughter soon arriving. So I just wanted to go in with this clip after this to show you exactly what the news had said about Jalissa and her killing her daughter.
Stabbing her daughter to death. Police say the 24-year-old called 911 herself Tuesday morning and confessed to killing her 3-year-old daughter. Detectives report finding the little girl's body with deep stab wounds and a knife next to her body at an apartment along 163rd Street near Northeast 10th Avenue. Neighbors told us off camera that Baxter was somehow going through some tough times. Public records show that the mother was unemployed and received an eviction notice only a few days ago. Now, today we did speak to Baxter's stepfather over the phone. He says they only met her once when her mother passed away of cancer in September of last year, and he doesn't know why she snapped.
On this pic, we have Jellisa Baxter, and the two people underneath her are Danny Rowland and Mary Bell. And you may know them or you may not know who they are, but we're definitely going to get into them. And I have to show you something about their birthdays. I wanted to show you guys something about everybody's birthday that I had on that previous pic. Jellisa Baxter's birthday is May 26, 1999, and her soul contract numbers are 581. Mary Bell's birthday is May 26, 1957, and her soul contract numbers are 584. Danny Rowland's birthday is May 26, 1954, and his soul contract numbers are 581. Are you seeing the pattern? I know you're seeing the pattern. What these three have in common is they all have murdered someone, and it's very ironic that Jellisa actually matches up with Mary Bell and Danny Rowland in two major ways. And it's all aligned in itself, but we're going to get into Mary Bell's story, and then we're going to get into Danny Rowland's story, and then come back around to Jellisa and, tie it all together. By the way, I did a spiritual tea report about Zodiac killers. That's why I know these actual serial killers and have their birthdays, because I'm taking an in-depth look at that Zodiac list that you see displayed here, where it was actually certain Zodiac signs have more serial killers in common. And one of those on the list was Gemini. Gemini zodiacs underneath the month of 5 are the majority of the serial killers on this list that is under, Gemini, of course. So it's showing you something about that month. And I feel like it's almost like it's more on the cusp area where you're seeing majority of the serial killers' birthdays falling around, which you even see with Jellisa, Mary, and Danny, that they're all like kind of near that cusp area of where things switch over from the zodiac signs. Also, I would like to add that someone had even brought up a good point that on this list, that all the zodiac signs are mutable. And when you think about a mutable sign, it means that they can change whichever way that they need to go. Like they go with the flow of things, and sometimes going with the flow of things means that you can be manipulative, or you are not, I guess, showing that you are consistent. So this would be a Gemini behavior, to not always be consistently the same person. That's why they call them the twins. So we're going to get into Mary Bell and just talk a little bit about her background, so we can kind of look at how her and Jellisa correspond with each other. So there's this article out, and it's called "The Chilling Story of Mary Bell, the 10-year-old murderer who strangled two boys." And Mary Bell is this serial killer that was only 11 when she killed two toddlers in 1968. And it's just talking about how Mary Bell was 10 years old when she strangled her first victim, a 4-year-old named Martin Brown, and then left haunting confession notes for his family. 2 months later, Bell killed and mutilated a 3-year-old named Brian Howe. So I don't know if y'all know Jellisa's story, but we're going to get into Jellisa's story a little later. But just keep that in mind, that she strangled um, the toddlers. Meanwhile, she tried to strangle several other children and made it clear in her notes that she wanted to keep killing, and she wasn't able to. However, after that, the police quickly apprehended her. She did end up getting out of jail, and she got married and had a child, and now she has a grandchild. I believe she's still alive. But she was nothing to play with. And now we're just gonna move on to Danny. But yeah, this is crazy. This is some crazy information. So I'm gonna wrap this up here, and we're gonna have to do a part 2 that'll be coming soon, because I still need to go over Danny and then come back to Jellisa and just wrap it all together in the patterns that I've seen in the spiritual analysis. So stay tuned for part 2.